So before we go too much farther, you are to take that data set up above and get it into your calculator and then generate all the answers in this first column. So I would pause the video and then come back and check to make sure that you have them all correct. I'm going to show the rest of the list in a second. So now double check the rest of the list, make sure you have them all correct. So now I want you to go to the top of list 2, and this time you're going to type, again, make sure you're right on the name, you're going to type list 1 plus 5. And so what your hamsters are going to do for you is you're going to add 5 to every single number in that data set. And then again, you generate all the values and fill them in the second column. So pause right now, do that, and then come back and check your answers. So make sure you have all of those. And I'm going to scroll the screen up in a second. So double check those. Pause if you need to. And generate those last 2 answers, or double check those last 2 answers. And now this time I want you to go to the top of list 3, and in list 3 I want you to type L1 minus 4. And so it's going to take all those data values, and this time it's going to subtract 4 from all of them. And then again, I want you to fill in all the values. Pause the video, check your answers. So check those right now, and then I'll scroll up and add the last 3. Make sure you have all of those correct. And the last 2, make sure you have those correct. Okay, so now here's what I want to know is, what did you notice? How did the mean change when I added 5? How did the mean change when I subtracted 4? And then I want you to repeat that noticing for the minimum. How did the minimum change when I added 5 from the original data? How did the minimum change from the original data when I subtracted 4? And then answer that question for each of those values. And then pause the video for a second and take a look for every single one of those values. Always compare back to the first column, the original set, and see how did your new answer change. So tell me that in every single case, and then same thing here. Okay, so pause and think. So hopefully what you noticed is that if we add or subtract, then both the mean and the 5-number summary change by exactly that value. So they increase, and so in the first case they increased by 5, in the second case they decreased by 4. So they change by adding or subtracting that value. But adding or subtracting does not change the range or the IQR or the standard deviation. And keep in mind that those 3 measures are how we measure variability or spread. So when I add 5, it doesn't change any of the spread. When I subtract 4, it doesn't change any of the spread values. So now this time I want you to go to the top of L4, and I want you to type in 3 times L1. And so it's going to take every single one of the data values from L1, and it's going to multiply them by 3. And then I want you to check and see and fill in this column for every single value. So check those first 6 values, see if that's what you got, and then you can scroll down and see if you got the last 3 values. Okay, so check and see if you got those. And then I'm going to ask you the exact same question, that being, how do all of these answers compare to what's in the original list? So see if you can figure out the magic that generates all of those numbers. And then I want you to repeat that process for this next set, which is data divided by 2. So go to list 5, type in L1 divided by 2, and then fill in all your numbers.